I am going to do this again. And I want to make sure I am clear and concise. And I still think it's going to trigger people, but I want to understand that where men are coming from when they say this. So, what am I talking about? Obviously, I played the TK Kirkland in the beginning. So, and I knew it was going to trigger people. I've seen some of the comments, even the one homegirl that it triggered her, which understandable. So, but I want I want to say this to a point of understanding and compassion. Now, I've always said that men care about sexual assault or anything that has to do with grape, because I can't say the actual word, more than women. The reason why is because we when I can speak, because when stuff like that happens, we want to make sure there are evidence, there is proof, there is everything that will back up a person. It's not that we don't believe you, because 9 times out of 10, like, men are going to believe women because we do want to protect women, but we want to make sure everything, all your ducks are in a row before we go fuck a nigga up or we go do something. And ladies, I don't want you to look at it as victim blaming when we do ask questions. I don't. No one's blaming you for getting sexual assault. I want people to understand that, and I want to say that as clear as concise. No one. At least I don't. I don't. I never blame a woman for being taken advantage of. Sometimes it just happens. There is no blame. I mean, I don't think there's no blame to be passed around. But we know that if stuff like that happens, we as men, we need to get him the fuck out of here. And that's how men think. And it's just like this, which is why TK Curtin said, "You got an hour." Now look, and here's another thing. A lot of men do understand trauma, and it's easier said than done. But the reason why men take that stance, and I'm going to be speaking for myself. If God forbid something happens to that, I'm going to want to fuck the nigga up. If you telling me that, but I also know that I need visual proof or something that gives me along that said that yes, this person did violate you in the wrong way. That's how men go. If you say this person did it and you show, or there's someone there that shows you that did it, we're going to jump on that person. I don't like, especially if it's shown that this man does sexual assaulted you. We usually jump on the person. The motherfucker is going to get his ass whipped. Is To me, it's just that sometimes, and it's not the women who have been assaulted, but we're not gonna. I don't want to fuck a nigga up and then find out the nigga didn't really did it, and you find out the people lie. People do lie. Does people do? And yes, I would say maybe not to a large amount, or maybe to not a big amount, but people do lie. Men, this is just men in general. We like to make sure our ducks in a row before we do something, because sometimes as men we gotta move. We are the logical being, so we have to move very logical with this. Now, granted, I can't be a vigilante and just straight up fuck a nigga up, so I do have to go through the police. If you telling me a nigga assaulted you, or a nigga did something to you, or a person is even uncomfortable to you, especially if I'm like your boyfriend or your husband or something like that, that nigga make you feel uncomfortable. I don't. Okay, look, I'm gonna make sure like he doesn't come near you, he doesn't anything strange to you, or you know anything as that. My job is to protect you, because that's my job as a man. Is to protect you, to make you feel comfortable. Like me personally, I do not. If a woman feels uncomfortable around me, and I say this many a time, if she feels uncomfortable around me, I don't want to be around her. I don't want to be around me, because I don't want nothing bad to happen. Now, all of a sudden, she gets comfortable around me. We can talk, but I'm not going to force a person to be comfortable around me. If she's not comfortable around me, so be it. I'm not going to be around that person. That's just being an adult. Now with TK, now I could understand why TK, because yes, it is harder than it seems, but you gotta understand this from a man's point of view, especially when you get hit with cases like this, and and I've said this. And I said this plenty of times, and people all know it's not the black and white that gets people caught, especially for men. We're not worried about the black and white because the black and white means you did it, and you obviously did it. It's the gray areas. It's the I gave you, like, even though she said yes, I gave you consent. Oh, but she could just change her mind anytime, or she could tell I really, I although I said yes. Now these are different scenarios. These are all different scenarios, but these are scenarios that happen. It's just like, although I said yes, I really didn't mean yes. I just said yes so he could just leave me alone, and I really wasn't comfortable. It's like, no, that's one. Uh, when you start, and then all of a sudden, when both of y'all are drunk, and all of a sudden he got to take the blame because even if you got drunk on your own, like the men took advantage of it, even though you was like jumping, even though there are women that their inhibitions lower when you are drunk. Now, again, none of this is blaming women. This is shit that's really happened. Or I'm not here to blame women. These are shit that's actually happened. Um, once we get the go ahead, that's we want to like I said, I want to see the piece of shit going. Like you think when we hear stuff like this, or like I said before, the I bring this all up. The chick that from Illinois that a random stranger like took her to a car, did his thing, and killed her. You think that sits well in my soul that a woman cannot walk the streets by herself, knowing that somebody might take her off the streets. Like I got a niece, and even when I pick her up from school, and trust me, like sometimes I gotta make sure because she likes to walk off, and sometimes I have to pull her back. It's just like I want her to be a kid, but at the same time I want her to be safe, and it's my job. And I have to tell her many a times, okay, I don't mind you being a kid because that's what you are. But my job when I walk her when I walk her home from school, when I pick her up from the school and walk her home, I tell her all the time, my mission is to get you home safe. My job is to get you home safe. It's just like I can understand you want to play around and all that stuff, but my main job is to make sure you are home safe. When you are in this house, you are protected because I got to be the one watching you. If I don't watch you, if I don't make sure you're safe, then I'm not doing my job. I had to, and she's 7, so I have to explain this to the 7-year-old, and I believe she gets it. She still be a kid, and so there's times where it's just like if I pull you back, it's for a reason. I'm all about protecting. I'm being protected of your needs. I'm protective of my sisters, even though my sisters can handle themselves. I'm protective of my sisters. Um, but and that's just I feel like that's just men in general. The thing about is with TK Kirkland, I'm not going to say he said anything wrong, but I don't think to me I don't think he said anything wrong. But to me, that's how most men feel. It's just like someone told you to did it. We're going to the police. We're going to the police. We're going to make sure hey, we get all the DNA and get this son of and because my whole intention of that is to get that son of a bitch in jail. And I understand trauma because I think I seen this in Y'all Fix My Life. I guess when the youngest was sexually assaulted, the father didn't know about it. And the father was enraged and he was mad because someone did that to the daughter. And he was mad because he let his guard down and he probably let because that's how men are. We let someone in that took advantage of you and you're like I'm gonna feel and he felt like shit. Like I understand this is why men say the things that we want to make sure you're safe because it's I don't know other people. I trust you, but we say this all the time. I trust you, but I don't trust other people. And most men know that hey, some of these dudes, they're not for your attention, for your good. So we're trying to make sure you're safe. Now, look, the women, I expected, look, here's the thing. I'm not even mad at the women's response, especially the ones that has been assaulted, because like I do understand, it's not that easy to just go tell the cops. And but I also said this, and like, please understand where I'm coming from. Like I feel sad that happened to you. You think I want to happen to you? Want that happen to another person? If your story could stop someone from doing that, I will be. I definitely feel like we done did something at least. Now, like I said, I can't be a vigilante, because if we was able to be vigilantes, you think if you found someone that took advantage of your daughter, or in which I feel like men shouldn't go to jail for that. I feel like that should be the right thing, but that's just me. And it's just like, if it's proven that that dude done like took advantage of your child, or you see him in the act of taking advantage of your child, you're going to kill that son of a bitch, or your son, or if anything happens to the kid, we are, especially men, we are willing to kill you for our kids. That's human nature. You try to take advantage of it, we're going to kill you. I'm going to make sure you're not living. But we can't have that, because we can't be vigilantes. So the next best thing we can do, and it sounds all like, and it sounds very abrupt, and I understand you. I can even understand you don't want to relive the fucking trauma. And like I said, but like I said, men, we want to get that shit knock the fuck out. We want shit to happen. It's the same thing with Casinat. When Casinat, he was like, when Casinat had that thing about his party, and he said someone in the party that took advantage of that girl. He said the first thing he did was call his police, call his lawyers. Like, he was silent, but the first thing he did was talk to the authorities. Let the authorities handle it, and like he's supposed to. Now even through all that, he still protected the girl. He said, "Don't put out no hate man. Don't put out no hate messages. Don't do nothing to this girl. Do not harass this girl. Do not call her a bunch of names." He said, "Let the cops handle this, and let everything handle it." See, like I said, it's not the black and white areas that gets people in trouble. It's the more or less the grays. When the black and white trouble, you're getting fucked over, or you're getting fucked up if you do the black and white. But the gray area, especially like, because the worst thing a man can do, the worst thing I feel like a man feel, especially when you feel like you don't want to take advantage of a woman, is like, I have to, like, you give me the consent, or you give me the go ahead, and all of a sudden I didn't really want to do that. You think that makes us feel any good? No. I don't want to take nothing. I don't want to take nothing, especially since that is precious to women. That is what's precious to women, and if you like shit like that, it's going to make me feel bad. I don't like hearing stories of women taking advantage of. I really don't. So, women, please understand, like, where TK is coming from. He probably don't care. He probably don't care, because he says this to his daughters as well. You got 1 hour, and I'm pretty, and like we're gonna get this son of a bitch. I see where you're getting at. He's coming from a protective father base. If you tell me that person is taking advantage of you, that's why a lot of people, like with this Bill Cosby case, because the question came off of Bill Cosby. You're coming out 20, 40, 50 years, 50 years. And I understand, like, some people are not going to believe you. Some people feel like you did. It's like, each individual has a story. Excuse me for yawning. Each individual have a story. Now, I don't think he raped those women. I said it. I don't think he raped those women. I say it all the time. I don't. I don't think he took advantage of the women, but I think the women maybe. But that's not the story I be hearing. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there, but if there is evidence, like the whole thing with R. Kelly, like, everyone was talking about him having sex with the little girl. Motherfuckers that seen the tape was like, yeah, that was R. Kelly. It's like the video was there. Once you saw that, a lot of people called him a pedophile. That's why R. Kelly has that pedophile name, and anytime it comes to anytime when it comes to pedophilia and R. Kelly, it was like we know what you was doing. Like we didn't have to have a trial, R. Kelly documentary, excuse me, docuseries of at least three versions of it. It's just that it's like most people who seen the tape already knew. It's just like, yeah, that's a sick individual. That man needs help. So, like I said, when I come from TK, like the things that TK and Kirkland was talking about, I get it. I get it. But I also knew the backlash it was going to get. And I also knew, especially black women, is just because he's a black man, especially black women, um, is going to feel it. I can understand victims of that could be traumatized. What he said is just, especially the ones that come out later. It's just like no one really believes their story. It's just like why they because let's be real. This and I don't consider this as victim blaming. It's just like, but we do want to know, yo, why didn't you tell immediately when it happened? Men are men are about the safety of a woman, especially of our own, especially of our own kind. Like we are the safety. We are the problem solvers. We are the problem fixers. All right, that's what men are. We fix problems, and that's where I'm going to leave it at. Let me know what y'all think. Till then, my name is Oskino Flower, and I'm out. Peace.